Hi, Dave Roscoe here. It is Wednesday, September 24th, 2025, and there's not much going on, at least not today. But I do want to talk about this concept of a dual value pie, and we'll have a discussion on that in just a minute. But first, the metrics. The anti-scammer bot is at 7 wins, 3 losses. If you or somebody you know has a compromised wallet and stands to lose their pie, reach out to me in the comments and let's see if I can help you. The circulating supply is 8.19 billion pie, and there were no user migrations yesterday. There were some today, and we'll talk about those numbers tomorrow if they're anything significant. But yesterday, there was nothing. There is currently 15.6 million pie in the pie migration wallet. And as I mentioned, migrations are not happening right now. The migrated unlocked rewards are at 3.11 billion pie, and there were 2.1 million pie unlocked in the last 24 hours and are now free to be traded on the open markets. Looking at the price action, the pie coin is currently trading at 28 cents, which is down 0.65% from this time yesterday. The market cap is at $2.3 billion, which is also down 0.65%. The daily trading volume is at $61.63 million, which is down 14.04%. So we seem to be back to our pre-dump volume and trading activity. And right now, it looks like I'm seeing an even mix of buying versus selling. So we're at an equilibrium right now. And that should result in the pie coin price stabilizing at this price for at least a little while until something else changes. But as you can see, we recovered back up to about 29 cents and have since moved down with a high of 28.4 cents. So we're still sitting around this 28, 29 cent mark, and we'll have to just see how it goes. So I want to talk about dual value pie. You see a lot of posts about this on social media, and you have to, and I've had several people ask me in the comments, is this a real thing? What does it mean? How would it work? And I'll tell you what I tell them. There is no such thing as a dual value pie. People are trying to make this distinction between bought pie and mined pie, and that the mined pie will be worth a different value than the pie that is transferred via the markets. And they use a clever attempt to show you how that works, in that you look at the ledger, the blockchain ledger, and it shows you where it came from. So they make the distinction that because you can tell that it came from an exchange, it's going to be treated differently, and that's proof somehow. And it's not. They're just playing a game with you. The concept of a dual value pie is a desperate attempt by the global consensus value, or GCV group, or cult, I should say, to try to save their delusional vision of the pie coin at $314,159. And this all stems from a misinterpretation of what the founders originally said about the price of pie, and that the Q&A, or the FAQ, or whatever you want to call it, posed the question, what will be the value of pi? And the response is, the value of pi is whatever the community says it is. And this became distorted into the idea that a group of people get to dictate what the price of a publicly traded cryptocurrency is worth. And the level of ignorance and naivete that is displayed by this group is astounding. And we could laugh at them due to the utter silliness of the concept. But here's the real deal. They are hurting the Pi coin, especially in the fledgling area of getting merchants to adopt it. You have these zealots pushing GCV in direct opposition to the market value. And let's be clear here. The markets are dictating the price. Not only did the Pi Core team decide to team up with exchanges on opening day, they just added another one. And you can't say that the Pi Core team is trying to keep the Pi coin off exchanges, because they're not. They can't. This is the real world. If you're not circulating on the global scene in some way, then you're just a niche. And it doesn't matter what you say your coin is worth. Nobody wants to deal with you. You are hurting the Pi coin because you're driving these merchants away. They don't want to deal with Pi because then they have to deal with you. And here's the irony. Unlike a lot of people who get disenchanted with the Pi coin and just sell it, the GCV zealots are compelled to do the exact opposite. They won't sell at any price below GCV, which is troublesome because that means they're sticking around and continuing to spread their poison on the community. We can't rely on them ultimately dumping their coin and being removed from the playfield. That's not going to happen. And the Pi Core team can't do anything about it. But the fact remains, they're hurting us. And our only way to get past them is to increase the liquidity of the Pi coin outside of these zealots, such that their voice is unheard, or at least unheeded. Right now, they have a large impact because nobody else really cares about the Pi coin right now, and the liquidity is low. There is only one value of Pi, and that's whatever the market says it is. Now, the people who try to make a distinction between Pi that's purchased on the exchanges and Pi that is mined fail to recognize that the Pi that is on the exchanges was originally mined by somebody. Okay? So it is mined Pi. And they chose to give it up and put it on the exchanges. And somebody else chooses to buy it. How is that different? It was mined Pi. So you're saying it loses this identity? Doesn't make any sense. What also doesn't make any sense is why would any merchant want to pay or price their products based on GCV when the Pi coin on the markets, which is the same playground that fiat lives in, all say it's worth much, much less, orders of magnitude less. Why would they do it? They're not going to. And it doesn't matter how much you stomp your feet, raise your voices, and roll around on the ground. You're never going to get your price. GCV is a myth. Dual value Pi is a myth resulting from the desperate attempts to preserve the delusion of GCV. The sooner we get past the idea of GCV, the sooner the Pi coin will make greater gains. Now, obviously, I know there are people in my audience who believe in dual value and, more importantly, believe in GCV. And I don't understand why you're here. I am not a friend to GCV. I never have been. I never will be. It is a fantasy. And all of you who support GCV are hurting the Pi coin. Well, that's all I have for today. I did something of a rant, I realize. But you know what? GCV is hurting the Pi coin. And the notion of a dual value pi in a desperate attempt to try to save GCV needs to be rebutted, because people are asking questions about it, which means there are people who aren't asking questions who are just buying the concept. And I feel it's my responsibility to put the real news out there, slap some reality on people. If anything breaks, I'll be sure to let you know. But until then, don't panic, stay the course, and remember, the success of the Pi Network begins with you. Pi to the moon. Peace.